When you think of the city of York, what do you think about? Vikings? Ghosts? Old stuff? No busking, please?
Yet the modern history of this ancient city has been shaped not by its inexplicable and tenuous association with Harry Potter, but the production of my second favourite brown substance.
I'm talking about chocolate, and today I'm going to ruin it for you. As sweet as the story of chocolate is, it also has its bitter side involving slavery, human trafficking and child labour. Let's get down with the brown. This is hell.
So you're on
Hell on earth.
As of 2023, the global chocolate market was valued at almost £100 billion. Globally, about 7.2 million metric tonnes of chocolate are consumed each year. Switzerland has the biggest appetite for chocolate, with about 19.8 pounds of chocolate eaten per person, following closely behind Germany, Ireland, the UK, Sweden, Norway, Austria and Denmark. Comparatively, Americans eat just 12 pounds of chocolate in a year because American chocolate is disgusting.
Disgusting.
Too busy here. York is often referred to as the chocolate city, not because it's some Willy Wonka-esque edible town, but it's okay. But because back in the 19th and early 20th centuries, a whole load of chocolate companies set up shop here, including Rowntrees and Terry's. What you got there, Sonia?
chocolate shots in a chocolate cup.
Edible cup.
In an edible cup.
Let's hope no children suffered so that you can enjoy that. You might as well be drinking blood, a child's blood. The chocolate companies shaped York into what it's become today, and their legacy remains in its architecture, institutions and tourist economy. Half my lolly fell off. The likes of Rowntrees were pioneering their approach to the well-being and welfare of their workers. I mean, they hardly ever shoved an overweight German kid in lederhosen up a pipe. In part, this is because of something Rowntrees had in common with its two largest competitors, Cadbury's in Birmingham and Fry's in Bristol. Nightmare. Turns out that Quakers aren't just good at pacifism, meditation and appearing on cereal packaging, they're also quite good at quaking chocolate, making chocolate. You probably know that in times of yore, the Mayans and the Aztecs prepared the first hot chocolate. And yes, I have changed my shirt. Come at me, bro. Back then it was a bitter drink made with roasted cacao beans, water and spices, and it was served cold. Much like today's Prime Energy drink, it was absolutely disgusting, but was considered a sacred and revitalising health tonic. The Aztec Emperor Montezuma, a sort of olden times Logan Paul, consumed vast quantities of it for energy and vitality. When Spanish explorers met the Aztecs in the 1500s, they were introduced to this ghastly beverage and repaid their hosts' hospitality by slaughtering them. Understandably, the Spanish found this horrible drink too bitter, so they began to sweeten it using vanilla, sugar and cinnamon. By the 1600s, the drink had reached France, Italy and England, where it became popular amongst the aristocracy and elites. So think about that next time you're complaining about the price of Freddo on Twitter. Sorry, X. Chocolate houses swiftly became fashionable places for social gatherings, and hot chocolate was seen as a healthier alternative to alcohol, which is all well and good, but can chocolate give you the courage to do karaoke or start a fight or temporarily dull your attention deficit? What's that?
In 1828, the Dutch chemist Conrad van Houten invented the cocoa press. This allowed for the production of a smoother, less fatty chocolate drink.
After purchasing a modest cocoa business in 1824, the Quaker Joseph Rowntree rapidly expanded, founding Rowntree's Cocoa Works in 1847. And he did that here, which, as you can see, is being transformed into a housing complex, which keeps a lot of the original architecture, such as these clock towers, and even keeps the name, the Cocoa Works. However, the company we really know began around 15 years later, when Rowntree moved into confectionery with the launch of its fruit pastels to compete with the French monopoly on sugar gummies. As you can see, the factory still exists, although it's now expanded massively since Nestle took over Rowntree some years back. Meanwhile, rival company Terry's was having its own success, with founder Joseph Terry using his experience as a chemist to come up with new and innovative types of confectionery, from gumballs to something called conversation lozenges, which were an early form of love hearts. In fact, they, just like love hearts, had slogans embossed on them. Yeah, they weren't the usual kind of, ooh, I'll lick your nips or whatever love hearts have on them these days. Sort of thing young people like, isn't it? They said stuff like, this is bizarre. They had stuff like, it's now or never, where has the time gone, and bizarrely, mother knows I'm out. What? In 1847, Joseph Fry and Sons invented the first solid block of chocolate by mixing cocoa butter back into the cocoa powder and adding sugar, marking the start of chocolate as we know it today. Chocolate back then, in the Victorian era, was very different to what you have today. It was a lot more bitter. Milk chocolate didn't really become a thing until later in the century, and the chocolate was very coarse. The massive success of fruit pastels allowed Rowntree's to invest in chocolate production. By the late 1800s, it had gone from a small family-run business to a huge industry. It launched its first solid chocolate block in 1899, partly because Joseph Rowntree believed that milk chocolate was nothing but a fad. However, it was going to change the fortunes of the company. At its peak, Rowntree's employed 14,000 people, investing in affordable housing and putting the welfare of their workers at the forefront of their business.
Quicker facts.
Quicker facts.
We've come away for a few days. We'd filled the car up to take it to the dump, and unfortunately we couldn't get
There were no slots.
So you've prepared some Quaker facts.
Yes, because I wanted to ask you, were you aware of why the Quakers moved into the chocolate factory movement? They were a religious group, more commonly known amongst themselves as Friends, considered non-conformists of their time because they formed in protest to the Church of England. And because of that, a lot of them couldn't study medicine or law or anything like that. So a lot of them, in order to make money, went into business. They were part of the temperance movement because they noticed that there was a lot of deprivation and misery caused by the misuse of alcohol. There was a lot of misuse of alcohol.
Yes.
They thought bringing in hot chocolate was a great alternative, but not only an alternative to alcohol, it also you needed to boil water in order to create the hot chocolate, which, because the water wasn't always best quality water, that was actually also good for people.
It killed the bacteria, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to know how many other very well-known companies were founded by Quakers?
I saying, I'd love to. I'd love to know.
All right, here we go. I'm going to read because it's a long list. Now, this is not the whole list. This is just a part of the list.
Okay.
I can't actually see this. I'm going to have to make it bigger because I'm not wearing my glasses.
That's what she said.
Do you really want her to say that? Because I'm not wearing my glasses?
No.
Yeah, no.
Okay, no, forget I said that.
Allen and Hanbury, who later became Glaxo. So I think now they're GlaxoSmithKline. They create pharmaceuticals. We've got Amnesty International, Barclays Bank.
Quakers started Amnesty International.
Yep. Clark's Shoes.
Yeah. Oh.
Greenpeace, Jacob's Crackers, Lloyd's Bank, Oxfam, Sony.
What?
Sony, the founding board president of Sony was I'm going to butcher this name.
Maybe don't.
Tamon Maeda.
He was a Quaker.
He was a Japanese Quaker.
Oh.
One thing that I found out about them that I found really fascinating is they don't have a pastor or a priest or a head of their church. That's why they call themselves the meeting group of friends.
They have, I believe, like a big bowl of porridge that's like the god.
Some of these facts may not be actual
facts. They have like
facts.
a big bowl of porridge and someone's put like some googly eyes in. And it's called Otis.
Otis.
They all hail Otis. Is this probably problematic, isn't it, me saying all this?
Maybe.
All hail Otis! All hail Otis!
Terry's also got into the solid chocolate game in 1899 to try and take some of the market share away from the jolly brown giant of the chocolate industry, Cadbury. But it wasn't until 1932 that it had its first monster hit with the creation and release of the chocolate orange. I mean, sorry to ruin it for you, but despite the best efforts of these Quaker-run businesses, enslaved Africans were forced to work in brutal conditions to meet the European demand for chocolate and cocoa products. There's bees. Bees. Even so, by World War II, the chocolate industry was booming, transforming York from a pox-ridden medieval city into a thriving industrial hub. Why though? Why can't we get enough of that sweet, sweet brown?
Chocolate consumption stimulates the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure.
The taste and sensory experience of eating chocolate activates the brain's reward centres, a bit like hacks or subscribing to this YouTube channel or signing up for our Patreon. Eating chocolate can increase serotonin levels, which help to regulate your mood, appetite and sleep, and it can also heighten the release of endorphins, which of course are mood enhancers. I mean, it's little wonder that Europeans became addicted, and it's said at the height of York's chocolate boom that the city literally stunk of chocolate, and the chocolate dust from the factories covered every surface like brown snow. Even today, with Rowntree now part of the evil global mega corporation Nestle, on the right day, if the wind is blowing in the right direction, you can still smell chocolate on the breeze. But wait, hark, what's that I smell? Why, it's the suffering of children.
Though the philanthropic efforts of the Rowntree family left a lasting legacy of corporate social responsibility, it only extended so far. Despite Rowntree being part of the abolitionist movement to end slavery, the cocoa supply chain to this day remains murky and difficult to monitor.
A significant portion of the world's cocoa, even today, is still sourced from West Africa, with Ghana and the Ivory Coast making up something like 70% of global cocoa production. Now I'm going to read this because I don't want to get any of it wrong. It's estimated that around 1.5 million children are still engaged in hazardous work on cocoa farms in West Africa. These children often face long hours, dangerous working conditions and exposure to harmful chemicals. Many are forced to work against their will. Some are even trafficked into it. This is where Roald, where's the N Ronald Dahl, got the inspiration for the Oompa Loompas. In the original version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the Oompa Loompas are described as small African pygmies, which Willy Wonka rescues from their homeland. They're portrayed as childlike, naive and dependent on Wonka, who provides them with cocoa beans, which they're all addicted to. While the global chocolate industry is worth billions, very little of that money actually reaches those who farm cocoa, leading to sort of massive wealth inequality. Cocoa farming is also a leading cause of deforestation, with huge swathes of rainforest being cleared, leading to damaged ecosystems and a loss of biodiversity. Despite the best efforts of the chocolate industry to improve its practices, the cocoa supply chain is difficult to monitor. The beans often change hands multiple times, meaning it's difficult to trace them back to their source and how they were farmed in the first place. Now look, I know that's all really depressing and it's probably not what you come to this channel for, but regardless, we have learned something important about chocolate today, and that's chocolate can improve your mood. And with that in mind, we're now going to eat some chocolate and cheer ourselves up.
Before we have the chocolate, we should rate our mood out of 10 and then rate it afterwards and see if it's improved. So, Paul, what would you say your mood is out of 10?
3. We've bought a load of chocolates from the area, so Rowntrees and Terry's.
Oh, hello!
Hello!
I've got a little doggy.
If you pat your knee and say hop it up, she might jump up.
Oh, hop it up. Hop it up. Oh, look, got a dog in the video.
Can you stay away from my dog with your bicycles?
Oh, the dog's scared of bicycles.
Oh,
Oh, crap. It's worse because it's also bothering me, but
oh no. Oh no, thank you for letting us meet her. She's lovely, yeah. Don't quite know what's going on, but Sonia's crying because we met that dog.
Oh, don't put me on camera. Oh my god, I'll get red eyes. Oh, my makeup comes off and then I
We eat the chocolates at home.
No, let's do it.
Smarties.
Yeah, my favourite.
No longer in the classic tube, it's now in a hexagon shaped package. Used to have a plastic lid, if you remember. Did you have Smarties in Australia?
Yes.
Did you have the plastic lid with the letter on it?
I don't remember. I remember a letter.
You used to have a
being on
plastic lid and a letter on it, and you took it off, and depending on what letter you got, that was supposedly the initial of your true love. That wasn't the actual, that was the urban myth version. The truth was that
What letter did you get?
X.
Oh, Elon Musk's kid.
Yeah.
No, God. When it grows up.
When it grows up. Is that what you were about to say?
Yes, but cancel. No.
The reason was to help children with their alphabet.
Oh, okay.
Right. Now, the only flavoured Smartie
Yes.
is the orange one.
Okay.
It used to have orange chocolate in it. Now it's only the shell that's orange.
Oh.
Are you interested in that?
Linked
You sound because you do sound it. Rowntree's invented Smarties in 1882, where they were first sold as chocolate beans. The beans? Are we going to try some?
Yeah.
What's the point? Everyone knows what Smarties taste like. We're actually doing a Smarties taste test. I never get much of an orange flavour, so.
My green one tasted a little bit stale.
Now this, interestingly.
Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you so much.
Yeah, great. The original four-finger bar was developed after a worker at Rowntree's put a suggestion in a box for a snack that a man could take to work in his pack. The bar was officially launched in September 1935 under the title of Rowntree's Chocolate Crisp, renamed Kit Kat in 1937. Blah, blah, blah. There's a whole load of other stuff. Now, the traditional bar has 4 fingers, which each measure approximately 1 centimetre by 9 centimetres. The 2-finger bar was launched in the 1930s. And
Should measure them.
Oh, don't need to. 1999's Kit Kat Chunky has 1 large finger, approximately 2.5 centimetres. Sanya, I've been wondering, would you prefer 4 fingers or just 1 large finger? We don't even need to eat. What's the point of doing a taste test?
Has your mood improved?
Yeah, it has.
Mine's gone up to 8.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because I asked you about?
No.
In
this yet?
September 2006, Nestle. No, that comes last. Nestle announced they would be cutting. They're now giving it away, cutting 650 jobs in their York factory. Blah blah blah. Moved their production to Hamburg, but in 2010, a new £5 million manufacturing line. That doesn't sound like an expensive factory. Was opened by Nestle in York. Was it just like in someone's like bloody Gary? What is going on? Anyway. They make 1 billion Kit Kat bars a year in York.
Okay,
right, York.
great.
Okay, now the big one. Not the big one, but the really iconic one. No,
There's so many in here. I can't eat this much chocolate.
well, we're trying to improve our mood. No, I can't find it. Hold that
I've
up.
had one of these.
Oh yeah, well, be prepared to be slightly disappointed. All right, in 1976, this has a controversial history, this chocolate bar. In 1976, Eric Nicoli of Rowntree's spotted a gap in the confectionery market for a manly chocolate bar. And so the company launched Yorkie. Don't do that. Seriously. It's like 80p's worth of chocolate. Throw it over there. What the hell's the matter with you?
It's not for me.
Okay, let me finish reading, you nightmare. And the company launched Yorkies, a chunkier competitor to Cadbury's Dairy Milk. In 2002, the bar's relaunch.
Pops, I can't do this.
Why is it too boring?
Yes, it's too much reading.
Okay, well, they got sued or something because they said it's not for girls.
It's like
And it's called Yorkie because it's made here, or was.
Oh, cool.
Great, fucking tennis players behind us now. Aero bars were introduced in 1935 as the new chocolate, followed by peppermint Aero from Hold It Up from 1959. The process was patented in This is boring. How do you reckon they make the bubbles?
With a straw and they go.
No, the owner of the factory puts his
It does.
It's got a tiny
What, like a jack?
yeah.
Because
No, it goes in.
yeah, and you.
He does.
Ew.
So that's that fact. Best thing about
This
Aero.
is my favourite one.
Also looks like bums. Oh,
Does it?
look at a bum. Ooh, twerking.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love arrows.
Is that. Terry's introduced a chocolate apple called the dessert chocolate apple in 1926. It didn't do terribly well, but in 1932 it launched the chocolate orange, which did do quite well. It's going to be weird eating this outside of Christmas. We only ever eat it at Christmas. Right. So you have to tap and unwrap.
Oh.
That's like a. What's that look like, everyone? Well, it's not overpowering, is it?
What's your mood now?
It has improved, but probably. Actually, it has improved.
What score is it?
It's probably 6.
Wow, that's good. Mine's dropped back down to 7. So I had the classic sugar spike where it shoots up by 1 point, shoots up, and then crashes back down.
Has any of that changed how you feel about chocolate? Would you try harder to select ethical brands?
Have you got any examples of ethical brands? So to make it easier for people who might be interested in going in that direction?
No.